All right, so we always talk about coming to show homes, right? Super important. The low-hanging fruit in real estate are going to be buyers. So a lot of people that are coming into real estate, they're going to be working with a lot of buyers, and that's just how it typically works. Now, you come in and you want to be a listing agent or investor. Now, you can do that. It's going to take some time, right? Low-hanging fruit, we all know it's the buyers. So our team, we work with a lot of buyers. That's what we do. We help a lot of buyers, whether it be new construction, resale. Lately, we've been doing a little bit more new construction than resale, but there's not really one that's better than the other. We like new construction. It's super scalable. You know, the houses are nice. They're brand new, so it just makes it a little bit easier. But when we're coming in to do showings, right, let's start with resale. I like talking about resale because that's how I started my career. We didn't start doing new construction until more recently, and even with that, I haven't done a ton of new construction myself. My team will probably, by the end of this year, have done about 70 new construction homes, which is great. I love it. But I started with resale, and most agents are going to be starting with resale as well. So a couple of things to think about when you're helping these families out. One, it's not about the paycheck, guys. The paycheck is going to come, but don't let that be the primary focus of why you're out here showing people. Start with serving people first. You want to serve somebody first. You want to help them. And then in return, you're going to get rewarded for it, your paycheck, right? So with that being said, you know, you have the opportunity to serve somebody and get paid for it, great. So now with resale homes, typically, if you're a brand new agent, right, and you're like, hey, I want to start showing, I got this person, they want to see a house. I don't know if they're pre-approved. Like for the most part, I won't take out anyone that's not pre-approved unless I know they have solid income, unless I know they have solid funds and their credit's, you know, fairly decent, then I'll take them out. I had a dentist and an engineer, software engineer. They weren't fully pre-approved yet when I first met them. Who cares, right? They have great jobs. They had money. They're like, don't worry about it. Like, we can even buy this house cash. So that's one thing. So if you're a brand new agent, and these people want to go see a house, go show the house. Unless they tell you, we want a $1,500 payment. Okay, hey, how much money do you have? At least ask that question, right? But if you're a newer agent, you're going to want to take your shots. You're going to want to look for these opportunities. And one thing I would say, go out with as many people as you can, because you figure out how to talk to these people, right? You figure out what works, you know, what doesn't, what they're looking for. So now when I go to an appointment, I've done, you know, probably 1,000 showings at this point now. When I go on an appointment, I know exactly what to ask. I know what to say. I know what to prepare them for. But it came with doing a ton of showings. So if you're really like, oh no, I got to protect my time, then real estate is probably not going to be for you at the beginning because it's going to take time to get going. So now going into the showing part, right? Now we're at the showing. So now going into the showing part, right? Okay, now I'm gonna show them. We're gonna get out there. One thing you always have to prepare, right? So one is being prepared. So what does that look like for resale homes? Is scheduling the appointment ahead of time. You don't want to be like how I've done it a lot of times, is wait for the very last minute. Okay, hey, I'm going to go schedule this showing now. You want to try to avoid that. Try to do it 2 or 3 days before, where you're locking in these homes and you're not having to scramble. How many times have I had to scramble to get showings for my clients because I wasn't prepared? Now I do a better job. I'm reaching out to these agents 2, 3, 4 days before, and I'm asking, hey, can I show this home, right? Can I set an appointment? Now, if it's vacant and you just could go direct, that's going to be a different story. Maybe you can get away with going to the house and just showing them, right? Now, if I'm a newer agent, what I would do is I would call the agent if possible and say, hey, I'm showing this home. Can you give me some more details? Now, we all know that most, listing agents are probably not going to answer their call, and it would probably go a little bit crazy with all these brand new agents calling them, asking them for more information. But you want to stand out. So the way to stand out is to find out more information about these homes. So when you go to this house, you look like the expert, right? You might not know all the stuff about the market, contracts and all that. That's okay. Don't worry about that. If you get enough information about the home itself, you go there and it's like you talk about it. It's like you lived there before almost, right? Because you know so much about it. That's the kind of vibe you want to give off to your clients. So that's going to be number one. Now, doing your homework basically. Now you prepared, you schedule these showings ahead of time. You definitely want to do that. We talked about that already. So going into the next part, when you're actually going out there to show, right? You schedule the showing, you have the time. You want to space these houses about maybe 30 minutes apart, depending how far they are. Like I showed some houses right now. We did about 5 and they were all like 4 or 5 minutes apart. So we did like literally 5 homes in an hour and 20 minutes. And we did it super fast. And we took like a 10-minute break. So you got to kind of time it, right? If you're showing a luxury client, it's going to take a little bit longer, right? To show these nicer houses. If it's an entry-level home, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, right? Resale home, pretty standard. They're probably going to be in and out within maybe 5 to 15 minutes. It's going to be super fast. And that's kind of what happened here. I try to tell my clients, hey, take your time. But, that's what happens. So learn how to space those out. Learn the type of client you have. If you're looking at houses in Riverside, let's say at $1 million, $1.5 million, or $2 million, you're going to want to give your client at least 30 to 45 minutes at one home, just enough time for them to go around it a few times because they're making a big decision, just like everybody else, but that's what they expect, right? So you have to know who your consumer is. Okay, so now you schedule them out, you're ready to go. You did your homework, right? Make sure you're getting as much information on each home as possible. Write down some notes on each of the houses so you know what you're talking about. Again, you're probably a newer agent. You need as much information as possible. I can get there for the most part now. Look at what I got to look at, and then I'm just kind of going with the flow because I've done it for so long. And that doesn't give me an excuse not to be prepared, but I know what I'm doing at this point in my career. So now you get there, right? What are you doing when you get to the house, right? You want to dress up nicely. You want to dress up a little bit better than I'm dressed up today. This is kind of casual. I'm in jeans. I got dunks on. But if you could dress a little bit nicer, dress nicer. Like that's important. I'm not talking three-piece suit. I'm not talking about that. But you want to be presentable. So now you're going on the showing. What do you show up with? I typically like to show up with an iPad, right? I carry this everywhere as I'm showing, so I look professional. I have the property up. I'm showing them stuff if I need to. I'm showing them the next home. You want to have something in your hand. You don't want to just be walking around with your phone in your hand, because they're gonna look at you and be like, this guy, he just came with his phone. It just doesn't look good. It's not a good look. Now you're probably thinking, well, I'm brand new. I don't have an iPad. Like, what should I do if I don't have an iPad? Well, you should. Realistically, you should be carrying the paper around, the MLS sheet, which you can print out from the MLS. Print those out and have little packets, and you can hand them those packets. I've never been a big fan of printing stuff out. I have my iPad. I can show them. They're typically looking at the same property that I am. So that's just, it works out, right? Have something on hand. Don't just have your phone. It's not a good look. It makes you look unprepared. So that's going to be the next thing. So now you're showing the home, you have your iPad, and as you're going there, you want to look like the professional, right? So a couple of tips. Most buyers this is stuff they're not going to look out for. This is going to help you stand out. Hey guys, when we go to these houses, make sure you take your time. You're looking out. You want to look up. You want to look down. You want to feel around the floor. Is there any like, any dipping? Is there any big drops? Is there any big lumps? Is there any stains on the ceiling, right? Little things that you want to look out for, so like, hey, this looks kind of rough. This might be something that we have to look out for. That does happen. So you have to prepare your client for that. As you're going around, hey, as you're looking around the neighborhood, right? You want to look out for fences. Is there a lot of fences? Is there a lot of dogs? Is like, different stuff that whatever your client needs wants to know, right? Some people, they don't care if there's a lot of fences. They don't care if there's a lot of walls. There's people that just don't like that. So say, hey, find out, hey, do you care for fences and all that? But you want to let them know that as they're driving through neighborhoods, they should be looking out for the stuff. Again, it's going to give you a slight edge because they probably talk to somebody else that's just going to go open the door for them and say, do you like the house? And that's all they're going to do. No, you're actually giving them value. This is what you're expecting. This is what you're looking for. This is what you're looking at. Ask these type of questions. Look at this at the home, right? Feel around as you're walking through. How does the door open? Whatever the case may be, give them those tips and they're going to really appreciate that. And that's, as you're going, you're telling them this stuff so you look like the professional. Look at the roof, right? I'm not a roofer, but look at the roof. Does it look like it's going to completely fall apart, or does it look fairly clean, right? I'm not telling them to go in the sink and stuff like that. Like, look at the plumbing. Like, we're not really there because then we'll be at a house forever. So you're there, right? Now, that's one part. You're showing them the home. You know everything about it. You're giving them these tips. They're going to appreciate you. Now, the next thing is, now if you want to take a little step further, and I'll do this from time to time, is I'll have something like a little cooler, those little plastic ones, or even I just carry them in a bag, right? But I'll go to like a 7-Eleven before the showing, and I'm buying waters, I'm buying energy drinks, I'm buying snacks, right? I always tell them before we come to the showing, do not come on an empty stomach. That's the worst thing you could do, is be hangry when you're looking at homes, and then you're just not going to have a good time, right? So looking at that is super important. Having the snacks ready available for them is super cool. They appreciate it. At minimum, you want to have water for them, at least decent water. I like to go to 7-Eleven. I'll get them the essential water. I'll get them the smart water. And I'm able to hand that to them, and it feels good. It looks good. They're like, thank you so much. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. But again, that's part of the service and the way you're going to stand out. So now you've done all that. Now, after every home, you're going to want to ask them, what did you think about this house? Is this something that you would consider, or is this something you're completely taking off your list, right? You ask that important question. So now you're like, if you have your iPad, you go and okay, I'm great. I'm deleting this one off the list. So it's taking away from something that they don't really care for. And then if they really like it, hey, you know what, guys? I'm going to put a star next to this address here because it seems like you guys really, really like this. And this one might be something that you guys are really considering, right? So again, we're painting a picture for them. Now, if you have a paper with you, right, the MLS paper, draw a star on it. Hey guys, I know we're going to draw a star on this one. I know you really like this. And then on the other side of it, okay, you didn't like it and you have a piece of paper, rip up the paper. Hey, this one's out of the question. Rip it up, take it with you. Now it's all these emotions are playing in their head as they're seeing these houses. Now, when you go and you see the last house, hey, let's recap what we seen today. Hey, I know we ripped up that last one. That was no good. But the one before, you have a star on here. Like, what do you like about it? What don't you? What do you think would hold you back from making a move on this house? Right? So we got to ask these important questions because we want to kind of get a temperature of where they're at. And then from there, you ask them, hey, this, after knowing and finding out what they really need and want, and you find out, yeah, like, hey, this might actually be a good fit for you and your family. Now you want to ask the question, like, do you see yourself living here? Right? And if the answer is yes, write up that offer, right? As soon as you can, tell them, hey, we're going to be writing up an offer, and this is going to be a great way to set you up and stand out against other agents. You want to ask for the business. You want to ask for the close. If it's their first time out, hey, we're kind of just still thinking of what's going to be out there. Hey, no problem. I appreciate that. Take this one into consideration. I'm going to call the agent and see where they're at with offers right now. See if there's any wiggle room for us on price. See if there's anywhere where we can get some type of credit, maybe help you out, come in less with, money down, maybe help buy down some rate. You want to give them these different options, guys. So I hope that's some good information. When you're showing homes, come prepared, right? Be ready, have something for them. And at the end of the day, you got to remember, these people are making one of the biggest decisions in their lives. So you got to come prepared. You got to come excited for them, right? So you got to bring the energy. If you show up and they're like, hey guys, I guess we'll open this door right here, they're going to feel that. We don't want them to feel that. We want them to be excited. Don't overdo it, but we want them to be excited, right? So we want them to be like, yeah, I'm ready to find this home. Hey, it seems like you guys have been working hard for this for a long time. I can't wait to show you the right home. And you'll know when the right home comes. I'll let them know that. So when they see there, yeah, this feels like the right home. Great. Let's submit an offer. I hope that helps, guys.